Here's a very specific one. All right, so I'm just going to read it out. During the structural systems course in the wind calculations example video, the importance factor, which was assigned in the example that we were using, was assigned a 1.15 value, but then it didn't show up in the final calculation. And since I just saw this a few minutes before we walked in, I actually haven't had time to go through and do the recalculation. But it's quite possible that I just made a mistake and didn't include it in the number. So let me just say generally, the importance factor, shows up in a couple different places. It shows up in wind, it shows up in earthquake discussions, it shows up in even some other structures questions. There'll be the idea of the importance factor. And there's never any time when you don't count it. So if I didn't count it, my apologies, it would absolutely be in there. Now, it's not going to make a massive difference because the way that importance is assigned generally is, let's say you have an agricultural building that really just has like storage of some backhoes and combines or something like that in it, and really doesn't have very many people in it. That is not going to be assigned a high importance value. So the idea there is we're not going to force people to build incredibly robust buildings that really just aren't as important, and there's not that much danger of people getting hurt if something weird like a tornado or something happened. So those have a very, very low importance factor, but the lowest it will ever go is about 0.6 or 0.75, kind of in that range. And the highest it's going to go is going to be kind of 1.15, 1.3, that kind of thing. So it ranges right around 1. And it's just sort of a way of kind of, after you go through the calculation of saying, okay, we went through the calculation, but this is a hospital, we got to be really careful. Or this is a school, we want to make sure this thing lasts because people are going to use it as a community space, especially when there's a big problem. Plus, we don't want the kids to get hurt. So it's just a way of tweaking the numbers to give more robustness and importance to the buildings, police stations, hospitals, schools, things like that. And if it's more of a kind of regular situation, house, something along those lines, well, it's just 1, we just leave the numbers as is. And if it's a building that really doesn't matter that much in terms of worrying about people getting hurt, well, then the number gets a little bit below 1, and it just sort of reduces the effect of the calculation a little. So absolutely it's included. It's not massively important in the sense that it's going to dramatically change the numbers, but it is important on the exam because it's an easy one to ask you about. So you really want to feel comfortable with that idea that different buildings have different levels of importance. And therefore, even though we go through a whole lot of calculations, it's essentially a factor of safety that's added on to those particular building types that are super important in an emergency situation.